Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Global Entrepreneurship Week. I'm very glad this morning to be able to declare GEW underway. Of course, in many parts of the world, you are already full in force with your programming and activities. And we're very excited to be hearing already great news from around the world. You know, Global Entrepreneurship Week, of course, has a very important mission. The world needs more entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs are perfectly suited for these challenging times. They're used to disruption and uncertainty, and they're used to the task of trying to lead us during these times when many of us feel uncomfortable and uncertain about what to do with our future. It's interesting to me that despite the fact that the world was faced with a common enemy during the time of this pandemic, we didn't have a global response. And so now when it comes time for us to turn to the task of rebuilding our economies and regenerating a lot of the lost jobs, we think the time has come for us to have a global response together. And that's as a result, this week, we have over 180 nations joining together to celebrate the entrepreneurial spirit. We expect to have close to 10 million people participating in over 40,000 events despite the virus. And these activities will focus on a range of different themes, including, for example, education and the important role that startup communities will play in trying to orient those in our society who've otherwise not been familiar with the startup culture, not been familiar with the culture that will be helpful to them as they look to find jobs in economies and in companies that will be part of the new normal economy. And of course, many of us right now are playing the role of teacher. And whether it's our schools or our teachers or our parents, there are opportunities during GEW to join activities which will help you share information about what it means to be an entrepreneur. The notion that it's about conducting experiments, collecting data, forming teams, figuring out new ways of doing things. As I often say, birthing the new. And so now we really join together and try to find a way to prepare the next generation for the post-pandemic world. We'll also see lots of conversations around how do we build healthier ecosystems, and including with that is the role that our governments play. You know, government is especially important at this time, but looking for guidance from the grassroots, looking for guidance from the entrepreneurial ecosystems that support them. And during this week, we'll have a range of activities that will be involving governments. I know we've already had many ministers from around the world already participating in the opening of this discussion. But I think we've also seen that we'll be having a range of dialogues this week about new business plans, about new models for how government can engage and support not just its entrepreneurs, but the ecosystems that are trying to enable them. And then finally, in terms of a theme, I think the most important one for me is that of inclusion. You know, when we began Global Entrepreneurship Week, it was always about how do we make it possible for all nations to realize the dream, to capture the opportunity and potential of entrepreneurship in their economies and in their societies. But it's about other things. It's about making sure that we understand that economies suffer when people are left out, and that it's vital in all of our cultures and in all of our countries that we reach out to those people who've been historically underrepresented in the entrepreneurial success story. And so, for example, in the United States, we'll be having town halls with Latinx entrepreneurs. We'll be having town halls about Black entrepreneurship, and we'll be looking at veterans and military issues. We'll be looking at communities in the United States that have been too small or not engaged in this process. And I hope that throughout the world, we'll be seeing this as we look to make it possible for all people who may have talent, but have not necessarily had the opportunity. We'll have lots of exciting activities. I know there's going to be startup huddles launched all over the world, which allow entrepreneurs to have a chance to share their ideas with their communities and to build community. And we'll also be having an I Am an Entrepreneur video challenge with a prize at the end. And that's really about finding a way that we can allow more of our fellow citizens to see if they can see themselves in the entrepreneurs around them. You know, that's really one of the biggest challenges we have with Global Entrepreneurship Week. And that's trying to make it possible for all people to consider the path of entrepreneurship in our economy. And part of that is to let people look at the existing entrepreneurs, let them see, is this someone that maybe I could see myself in their story? Maybe it's not just about marketing and spreadsheets and profits. It's about something that I can see myself being involved in ideation and in the concept of bringing out a better way of doing something. But this week we'll also see, in addition to all these activities, we'll be launching the Index for Dynamic Entrepreneurship this week. Thanks to the leadership of our Gen Policy team and Gen Research team and ProDem. And we'll also be doing a variety of blogs on policy approaches that governments are taking to try to bolster the efforts of their entrepreneurial ecosystems to support entrepreneurship. We'll be seeing angel summits, with a particularly big one happening in Saudi Arabia. And then we'll also be talking to a variety of philanthropies and companies that have been instrumental in trying to bridge the gap, which is so important for so many companies during this challenging time. I hope you'll join us if you're interested. We'll be getting together with KKR later this week and talking to them and Hello Alice, our partner in our small business grants program, to work out how can we be smarter and better about finding ways to get some grants in the hands of those people that are slipping between the cracks, that maybe haven't been able to get access to public funding, because much of our information has told us that at the end of the day, we have to work to serve to try to help entrepreneurs make it through this difficult time as we exit out of the pandemic, and try to help them make it to that point where they can save jobs and pivot for this pandemic. So as we know, as we embark upon Global Entrepreneurship Week, most importantly, I would like to thank all the Gen Global team, all the GW team that has been working tirelessly for months. But I'd also especially like to thank all of our GW hosts in the 180 countries with which we have an agreement. And I'd like to thank all the volunteers and all those people that have come together, because what we're really doing is we're joining hands and we're trying to work out how is it possible for us to come together as entrepreneurial ecosystems and look out upon the ordinary citizens in our country and work out how do we light more candles in their hearts and minds? How do we get them inspired? How do we get them excited about the idea of maybe kicking the tires for entrepreneurship? So this week, reach out to a neighbor, push the events that are happening across the world, and invite more people to say, just you might see a role for yourself next year as a starter, as a doer, as a risk taker, and as a dreamer. And on that note, I will be, for 2021, at the end of Global Entrepreneurship Week, I will be concluding GW by unveiling an outline of our strategy for the post-pandemic global entrepreneurial ecosystem over the next 12 months. We're very excited. We've been working hard to determine how we collectively, as a set of startup communities and entrepreneurial ecosystems across the world, can be most helpful in helping our fellow citizens and our economies and societies make it out of this pandemic. And we look forward to working with all of you over the course of the next year, coming out of GW, in working out how do we make that possible. Well, of course, today in our opening, our official opening, we can't hear from all 180 countries, but I can tell you it's extraordinarily exciting to hear what is going to be happening. So today what we did is we invited a handful of you to give us a couple of minutes each about what's going to be happening this week in your country. You'll be hearing from Brazil and China, New Zealand, Nigeria, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Spain, and the United States. And then we'll have a panel with a few of our other colleagues, other campaigns around the world to give you some flavor of what's happening during Global Entrepreneurship Week. But before we do that, so moving from one part of the world to the other, we'll get a last comment from Asif, and then we're going to open it up for a few minutes of informal conversation before we wrap. So Asif, of course, I see the Dafto University behind you. I miss being in Dhaka. I will tell you, largest ever audience I've ever spoken to when I came to speak there. I think you had 30,000 people.
30,000. Yeah, 30,000. Yeah, 30,000.
When it's live again there, and just to get to see what it what it speaks to. But tell me, you obviously have a lot happening there for GW. A couple of highlights to wrap us up, if you could, Asif.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for having me here, and it's an absolute privilege to be a part of this. It's my second year as the GW host here in Bangladesh. So we are doing something very focused here. During this pandemic, we have done from Gen Bangladesh a lot of events, activities with our partners. Just to let you know, in this GW, we have more than hundreds of partners from different parts of the country and come together. So we are hosting the biggest, most probably the biggest Women Entrepreneurship Congress this year happening. So till now, more than 100,000 plus registered participants have joining for more than 145 countries, and speakers from all over the world have joined us to speak about women entrepreneurship and how we can support actually the women entrepreneurship, boosted up them and so on. So this is one of the biggest event we are going to host this GW. Other than this, one of the signature program is the Startup Huddle, and within this GW, we are going to host 18 huddle events. So 18 startups will talk here, and they will last 2 years as I host a Startup Huddle in a continuous every month, but this time within 1 week or 8 or 10 days time, we are going to host 18 concurrent programs so that people actually get connected and we are taking very young startups so that they can actually boost the new people. Just to let you know, just before this program, I have hosted the first of Startup Huddle event of this GW, and more than 200 people have joined us from different part of the country. So this is something amazing. We had a great discussion with one of the startup, and other than this, we are going to host the investor day, and so that we can connect the startup with the investor. And one of the thing we have found that the mentoring is one of the biggest issues during this pandemic. They need the support from the experts. So we are going to host 3 days mentoring days for this startup. We have slotted it out for 3 days. So we are trying to support the young startup from their expert. And other than this, we are going to host another key event is the policy dialogue, so that we can support the startups. So we involve the government here. So we will come to a roundtable discussion just in the end of the GW. So we are doing a lot, and as we have 100 plus of partners from different parts of the country, so they are doing a lot of things and a lot of activities. So it is such an honor for me to coordinate all the activities within one platform, and from this platform, people are getting connected, and get support from each other, get to know about each other. So this is what we are doing so far for during this day. And last but not the least, and basically I actually waited for GW because this is the festival for me. And I don't need to sleep for the 7 days. I love to see that encouragement and everything. So I just from today, I just want to see the craze, and people are getting supported from us. That's it I want. And thanks, Jonathan. Thanks the team of Jen for doing such an, it is an absolute pleasure to work with you guys. And we are really honored to be a part of Global Entrepreneurship Network.
Well, Asif, thank you, and give our best to Sabah Khan and to all of the team there. I just want to tell everybody, Bangladesh is a model country for figuring out how to do a GW campaign. You also do the Entrepreneurship World Cup, you do startup huddles, you do policy work, research work. So you guys are really doing a tremendous job at trying to really leverage entrepreneurship for your ecosystem. So thank you.
Well, hello everybody. This Global Entrepreneurship Week, I wanted to take a moment to share a message of hope and encouragement. Entrepreneurs are the dreamers, the doers, and risk takers that have the opportunity to transform society for the better. I didn't even know that I was an entrepreneur when I started Virgin. The word wasn't really used back then. I was a young man with big dreams of creating businesses that solved problems and helped improve people's lives. When I first learned the word, I had to ask how to pronounce it. French was never my strong point. Everyone has the potential to become an entrepreneur and to create positive change in their communities. I'm proud to support the Global Entrepreneurship Network, a charity with a mission to make it possible for anyone, anywhere, to start or scale a business. They want to unearth a new generation of entrepreneurs to help figure out better ways of doing things, to create jobs and new opportunities in the wake of the pandemic. So if you've ever wanted to start a business, head over to the Global Entrepreneurship Network and check out all the great resources they have available. Cheers.
Hello, everyone, and happy Global Entrepreneurship Week. This is one of my favorite times of the year because it's so inspiring to think about people from all over the world, from all walks of life, coming together to celebrate the power of owning one's own future through entrepreneurship. At the Kauffman Foundation, we're working every day to build inclusive prosperity through a prepared workforce and through entrepreneur-focused economic development. Global Entrepreneurship Week and all of our work at the Kauffman Foundation is grounded in the principles and aspirations of our founder, Ewing Kauffman, who's a great entrepreneur himself. He believed that everyone deserves a shot at success, regardless of race or background. He believed that we can change people's lives by tackling root causes and changing systems, not just treating symptoms. He believed that education could help people to reach their full potential, and that racialized barriers shouldn't prevent people from starting and growing a business. And he believed that common people just like himself could do uncommon things to create a better future. There are millions of common, regular people on this earth who are doing uncommon things, often despite significant barriers, to make their communities and their countries better, healthier, and more prosperous. And we're going to need them to keep doing that, now more than ever. I've had the privilege of working with Global Entrepreneurship Week, or GEW as we call it, from the very beginning. We started GEW so that anyone with an idea could work to make that a reality, so that more people could own their own destinies by starting a business, growing that business, and then ultimately giving back to their community. With a backdrop of a global pandemic and continuing systemic barriers, GEW is a powerful platform to listen, to engage, and to work together to create the kind of change so that everyone, despite the color of their skin, their income, or where they live, can thrive. So from all of us at the Kauffman Foundation, thank you for being a part of this global entrepreneurial movement that is now more than 10 years strong. Here's to the makers, doers, and dreamers in your community, your country, and in our world.
Hello, welcome to Nigeria. Here we are in Lagos, the commercial and startup capital of Nigeria. We are getting ready for the 2020 Global Entrepreneurship Week celebrations. Even in the face of the global pandemic, which affected everything, including businesses, the GW is gathering momentum already. The theme this year is co-creation, influence, and sustenance, building supportive ecosystems. With over 30 partners across various states of the country, we have lined up several events to celebrate youth and women and to address issues in agribusiness, the creative sector, policies, and the startup ecosystem in Nigeria. Join us as we celebrate creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship in the most enterprising city in Africa, Lagos.
Hi everyone, I am Eduardo Diogo, CEO and CFO of the Brazilian Small Business Development Agency, SEBRAE. I'm here today to share with you a little bit of the Global Entrepreneurship Week in Brazil, as SEBRAE is the national host here in our country. I'd like to start recognizing the wonderful job of our fellow colleagues from the Global Entrepreneurship Network to make it possible in this collectively challenging year. I thank you, Mr. Jonathan Ortmans, and your competent team, as well as every member from our 180 countries in our network that have been making our event such a success throughout the years. Brazil's campaign this year is about economic recovery and the role of entrepreneurship. We know the pandemic speeded up changes that were already happening in our societies, such as digital transformation, digital revolution, or as I like calling, digital redemption. Entrepreneurship plays an even more key role in this emerging world. New business models, higher level of innovation, and inclusive development are some of the vital ingredients in this new 21st century recipe. Digital redemption, as well as intellectual and behavioral inclusion, secured by the dissemination of soft skills, concepts, and general entrepreneurship education, are some of the traits that Sebrae is working 24/7 alongside with its partners to instill in Brazilian entrepreneurs. As a developing country, we still face sizable challenges regarding economic and social inequalities. Entrepreneurship can help countries overcome those barriers. And the increase of the level of entrepreneurship by opportunity vis-a-vis the entrepreneurship by necessity is critical in this regard. To sum it up, I gladly invite all of you to join us in our 2020 events, online workshops, virtual meetings, and much more. Learn more about the ideas that are inspiring the world to turn things around and overcome this challenging year together. On behalf of Sebrae and on behalf of our beloved country, I wish we all Godspeed. Thank you all very much.
Good morning. My name is Denis Ditkovsky and I'm CEO of Center for Entrepreneurship. Let me open the Global Entrepreneurship Week in Russia. Thank you for being with us today. I am very glad that we celebrate the 13th Global Entrepreneurship Week together with Jen. We've been in that project since the very first day of the Global Entrepreneurship Week initiative. I am very glad that Global Entrepreneurship Week in Russia is supported by Ministry of Economic Development of Russian Federation for several years. I would like also to express my sincere appreciation to the key partners of the project, to APOR of Russian Federation and to Delovaya Россия. This week we plan a lot of entrepreneurship activities, seminars, roundtables, exhibitions through more than 60 regions of Russian Federation, from Kaliningrad to Vladivostok. For instance, as the export theme is very important for Russian businesses this day, we plan the specific day dedicated to export, the Export Day within Global Entrepreneurship Week. We invited the key export experts, panelists, businesses, special agencies that get together to discuss the best practices in export and building up a successful export business for Russian businessmen. We also invited some foreign companies to collaborate over this theme. We also created and planned the whole day dedicated to entrepreneurship education. We invited key universities, colleges, accelerators and training companies to discuss the best practices and to exchange the best practices in that area. As startup community building and startups priorities are very important for Russia and Russian regions, we plan the specific Startup Day within the Global Entrepreneurship Week in Russia. During that day, we invited key venture funds, key accelerators, key startups to discuss the startup ecosystem building, acceleration practices, and other themes which are important for startup companies. And we have very good and interesting last day dedicated to Far East business development, specifically in Khabarovsk, Vladivostok, and other Far East cities and regions. Thank you very much for being the part of the project. I would like to express my appreciation to the partners, to participants, to entrepreneurs for making this week happen. I am very happy that we have a great plan for Global Entrepreneurship Week in Russia that promotes entrepreneurship spirit and entrepreneurship initiative. Thank you very much and have a great Global Entrepreneurship Week.
Hello, my name is Amal Khan. I'm the CEO of the Global Entrepreneurship Network Saudi. Today, as we celebrate and kick off the Global Entrepreneurship Week, we'd like to be reminded with the great times that we're going through in Saudi Arabia. We're witnessing an evolution in the startup ecosystem. Lots of new venture capital funds are initiated. Lots of startups are getting into the scene, and we're actually receiving a lot of feedback about all of these activities that are happening. And on top of that, lots of government incentives and support to developing that entrepreneurial ecosystem. So today, as we kick off the GEW, we're only celebrating all of the stuff that are happening in Saudi. And as part of our activities in Gen Saudi, we're actually launching a group and a series of activities. It's going to start with a lot of forums and workshops and seminars, and there will be a lot of hybrid events that we're actually kicking off in collaboration with many of our partners here in Saudi Arabia. We've reached out to a lot of corporates, government sector entities, and a lot of universities and even schools that actually got excited to collaborate with us in doing lots of activities that we started to see the hashtag of GEW kicking off everywhere. We're only proud to see that movement. Hundreds of events and thousands of attendees already celebrating this, and we can see it all over the social media and a lot of platforms. But one of the highlights of Gen Saudi this year is to kick off a forum of the Angel Investing Forum that will gather the experiences in the region, in Saudi, and globally as well. And that will be the first time that we kick it off here in Riyadh, in hope that we will repeat this over and over with a series of training workshops in collaboration with Gen and other entities like EBAN and UK Business Association to actually conduct and train and network with our investors and our entrepreneurs as well in order to get the best experiences, to pass on the best practices. Wonderful days ahead. We hope that you enjoy and you'll be able to share some of these activities with your communities, and we can't wait to attend your events as well. So happy celebration for all of you. And today, the Global Entrepreneurship Week on Saudi Arabia will be kicking off. So wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Kia ora. My name is Dave Moskowitz. I'm the chair of the Global Entrepreneurship Network in New Zealand. It's a very exciting week for us because only last week we became a formal organization here in New Zealand. I want to congratulate everyone on a successful Global Entrepreneurship Week and wish you all well in your endeavors. But today, I'd like to talk about the New Zealand government's response to COVID and how that impacts and should inspire entrepreneurs. When COVID struck, the New Zealand government was faced with a terrible dilemma. How do we get rid of this disease? But they did three things and did them really well, which should be inspirational to entrepreneurs. And that was to be kind, to be bold, and to be scientific. The New Zealand government went hard and went early in getting rid of COVID and sought to eliminate the disease from New Zealand. When they said they were going to try to eliminate the disease, a number of us thought, yeah, right, how's that going to work out? But in fact, they did it because they had the aspiration. They had the audacity to pick such a big goal and to go really hard for it. Now, this should be inspirational to entrepreneurs as well. Any goal that is worth achieving, be bold about it. Be audacious. Do whatever you can to achieve it and make sure that the goal is big enough that it's really going to make a difference in the world. So, here in New Zealand, we're not wearing masks. We're going to hold the same kind of events that everyone holds around the world for Global Entrepreneurship Week. We'll be doing it in person and hugging each other and shaking hands and discussing entrepreneurship relationships, how we work with government, and all the usual things. We recently wrote a manifesto, the New Zealand Entrepreneurship Manifesto, which we released to government and the public, and we've had really good feedback on that. And I would encourage you to Google it and give us your feedback on that as well. So finally, I would like to thank you very much for all the global support that we give to entrepreneurs, that we get from entrepreneurs, and how we can build our one big global entrepreneurial ecosystem together. Have a great Global Entrepreneurship Week. Kia ora from New Zealand.
Hi, my name is Ellen Bateman, and I am the GEW host in the United States. For GEW 2020, our goal was to activate as many communities as possible with a specific focus on small to mid-sized communities. I have a team of over 100 volunteers of state coordinators and community organizers who help me galvanize participation across the United States. Thanks to them, we have over 150 communities participating in Global Entrepreneurship Week this year. Make sure you check out some of the great activities we have taking place across the United States, especially some of our GEW highlights, such as SourceLink's session on how to fund ecosystem building initiatives, or the Big Idea competition with Mark Cuban, or Babson College's session on empowering through entrepreneurship featuring Pitbull and Elle McPherson. These events are open to the public and we encourage you to join. I hope you'll participate during Global Entrepreneurship Week USA.
From Barcelona, capital of Catalonia, as MD of the Global Entrepreneurship Network in Spain, I want to send you a message of optimism and motivation, encouraging you all to celebrate the Global Entrepreneurship Week. Entrepreneurs from all over the world are called to address the biggest challenges. Entrepreneurs, investors, students, all the ecosystem actors are gathering in a Global Entrepreneurship Week designed to connect global entrepreneurs, providing the access and exchange needed to create and innovate ways to tackle global challenges. This week is about to celebrate how entrepreneurs have an idea and build a team and work to turn it into reality and launch products and companies that transform the world. That's the power of the entrepreneurship, and it's never been more important than now to afford this global pandemic and the world economic and job crisis. Let's celebrate also this special year. We are currently living in a worldwide pandemic that has resulted in many businesses to shut down. But organizations like Gym Spain or hundreds of partners organizations like Autoocupació are here to help and support them. Let's celebrate, like on our main event this week, the Startup Huddle, a virtual event in Barcelona with the participation of the High Commissioner of the Spanish Entrepreneurship Nation, a new initiative under the presidency of the Spanish government that is just launched. The topic for this Startup Huddle will be SOS Mentoring, a program we have designed with hundreds of voluntary mentors to help entrepreneurs to deal with the emergency situation caused by COVID-19. Finally, let me thank Jeff, Jonathan, Buke, Christina, and all the components of Gym Global team, including also the representative of the more than 170 countries from every region of the world, for all the great work that they have done. So please give them a big virtual round of applause. Let's celebrate.
Hello everyone, this is Eileen from Shanghai. I focus on investing and supporting entrepreneurs since 2007. Well, this year, most of the firms suffered by this pandemic, especially the small business and early stage startups. It is really much more difficult for them to raise money because of the ripple effect throughout the economy by COVID-19. However, we are stronger than we think. We can do more. Here, I challenge you to make a difference by getting involved Global Entrepreneurship Week this month, a campaign happening in almost every nation on earth. Well, entrepreneurship has no borders. If you have no idea, you can listen. What are the crazy guys on the stage thinking about? If you have something to do, maybe you can find your partners who have same dreams with you. And if you already started, hope you can find your investors who appreciate your ideas. Then if you are on the way to be bigger, I think you can make your business globally, extend your business globally. All of this could happen in GW. Of course, if you would like to do business in China, welcome to visit gew.co and contact me. My name is Eileen Wu, and I challenge you to unleash your ideas during Global Entrepreneurship Week in. Thank you.